Hello everybody and welcome back. You guys requested part 2, so here's part 2. Unlike the first video where I just basically went balls deep into unknown territory and just kind of started discovering what there is and isn't to offer in terms of this the features in this engine, this time I'm actually going to concentrate on select few features, and we're going to start with the general resource tree, and we're going to take a look at the sprites and tile sets, and obviously we're going to utilize one single room in order to take a look at those functions. So the first thing that I wanted to note is the presence of views. Now views are kind of like scenes in Flash, and I have Flash open here. So what these are scenes. Basically you can create a new scene, and it's the same exact project, but every single scene will contain its own timeline, its own blank canvas, and you can position all your animations inside of these scenes. This prevents having too many layers. If you have a really long animation, you would be using a lot of layers. You can kind of delegate different scenes to different actual scene instances in order to not have, you know, a bajillion layers with different animations. So this is kind of the same in GameMaker Studio, whereas let's say, you know, we have let's do this. Let's create a blank sprite. We're gonna call this one SPR forest level enemy, and we're gonna quickly copy this because I'm a lazy piece of shit. Let's create another sprite, call it SPR dungeon level enemy. Okay, I hope I spelled dungeon properly. Probably didn't, whatever. So let's say you have 10 different levels, one forest, one dungeon, one, you know, lava, one hell, one, you know, whatever your game takes place. You will get, you know, sounds, scripts, sprites, objects, rooms for all these different levels. And once your game gets pretty big, you're gonna have a lot of hard time locating your resources, and this is when you're gonna have to end up, you know, using the search feature, which is still present in GameMaker Studio 1. It's right there. It's you know, it would become hectic. This is where the views come in. They're like scenes. What you can do is you can go ahead and create a new scene and say forest level, and say, all right, so this is the forest level. You can right click, you can create your sprites, or you can add from the default view if you have already created them. So you can go into the default view, add all your sprites, and then go to the forest level, right click, add from default view, and then select your forest level enemy. Okay, so let's say this is just an enemy. You've also added some sounds, some objects, some levels, stuff like that. And then you go, okay, so now we gotta go to dungeon level. Same thing, right click, add from default view, and you can add your dungeon level enemy. So now you can, you know, if you're working on a forest level, you can go ahead and just switch to forest. And as you can see, I think these are alphabetically set up. So if I'm gonna go ahead and set, let's say forest level was first, I can do this 001 forest level. As you can see, now it's first. Dungeon level 002 dungeon level. In this case, I'm gonna go into default, and well, default can be renamed apparently, so, you know, I guess that's it. So that being said, this will definitely come in handy. We didn't have that in GameMaker Studio 1, but the present, and you know, it's not a crucial feature, but the presence of it is certainly nice. It does kind of show that Yo-Yo Games is really putting their thoughts into large format projects, which was kind of a complaint with GameMaker Studio, is that it gets pretty clustered when it comes to large formatted projects. Now, that's views. Let's go back to the default view. So let me get rid of these two sprites. Let's take a look at the sprite editor in depth. So let's go ahead and create a sprite. There is a neat trick that somebody on Twitter pointed out. This is gonna be our blank sprite, so SPR fire. And if you've seen this thing on Twitter, you know what I'm about to do. So we're gonna add a whole bunch of frames. Go into the first frame by double clicking on it, and this is really cool. I find it really to be a really interesting feature, and this was something that I think was borrowed from the Game Boy Advance development kit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab there's our toolbox. I'm gonna grab the pencil. I mean, this stuff, like, I don't have to explain everything that's on this window. I mean, if you play around with this for 5-10 minutes, you will be right at home here. So we're gonna increase the size of the brush. Let's make that smaller. Let's select a nice circular brush here. Alright, that's good. I do like the fact that you can now manually put in the number and you're not just stuck with preset sizes, which is really nice of yo-yo games. As you can see, we only had 6 sizes right here, so that's cool. So this is what you can do. I'm gonna make this maybe yay big. I'm gonna zoom out just a tad, maybe even smaller, and I'm gonna start the playback of the sprite. So we're playing back at about 15 frames a second. This is what I'm gonna do: left, right, left, right. Okay, so we've got some funky looking animation. So this feature allows you to animate sprites or draw right as the frame, right as the animator goes through the frames. So, you know, can do some of that stuff. Okay, so that looks cool. Let's grab, this is the cool part, grab the erase tool and do the same thing, except you just gotta do something like that. So now I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So as you can see, you can have these interesting looking effects. So somebody did that. They had a better, here, I'm gonna look it up. They had a better effect of it. I'm gonna show you how it can actually shine pretty good. The one thing is, I think my CPU is having a bit of a hard time playing back the animations. It's a bit of a son of a bitch. Doesn't wanna my CPU is not. It's a Core 2 quad, you know. It's been through some rough caca out there. So this is a cool feature, I have to say. It was borrowed from the Game Boy Advance development kit. You could do the same kind of stuff in there as well. So now, and there it is. I think I just found it. Yep, right there. The guy was doing the same stuff here. Come on, you. Load, you son of a bitch. Stop making me look bad. God damn it. Here we go. Let's just load this. For God's sakes. There we go. Okay. Yeah, his computer is way faster. And you can have these interesting effects, so that's kind of cool. There was a better one. There was another one right up there, actually. It was right over here. Same kind of principle. Basic stuff. Anyways, so the animator is really cool. You know, you have your text, you have your lines, shapes, selections, lasso tool, or paint selection tool, so to speak. Mirroring of brushes, so that's nice. Rotation of brushes. Anyways, this is very basic stuff. I mean, these are some of the most basic functions that you can find in an animating program. So up top here you have your brushes, your brush settings, your colors, basic stuff, and then your layers over here. Obviously you can just add another layer and, you know, do the exact same thing on the bottom layer, like that. Grab the erase tool. Do something like that. Anyways, the guy on Twitter did it way better than I am, and my computer kind of stutters on this. Anyways, So let's close this down. This was one of the things that I wanted to point out. So now we can just play back this sucker right here. There was a note that I wanted to do. Okay, so one awesome tool or awesome addition is you can just drag and drop stuff right into GameMaker Studio instead of having to go, you know, right click, create, and, you know, import. Obviously you can do that too. You don't have to, which is I'd say it's really cool, especially when you have single files. So let's go ahead and take a look at the tile sets, because we've pretty much covered the sprites here. I mean, what is there left in the sprites? You have the mask, which is the exact same feature set as you had in GameMaker Studio. You know, if you play the sucker back, you can have precise per frame, so you can have a precise mask for every single frame. Basic stuff. This is, you know, this is just repetition at this point. So let's close this up. Let's take a look at tile sets now. Now, in order for me to use the tile sets, this is really cool. Tile sets are now just they're just data types, or they're data contents of data. They're no longer backgrounds that have to be turned into tiles like you had in GameMaker Studio. You would create a background, and then you'd have to tick for it to become a tile right here. This time in GameMaker Studio, tile sets are essentially data types, or they're contents of data, and they use a sprite in order to basically in order to define all the tiles. So what you can do is you can create a new tile set. Let's do this. Let's call this tile underscore, not time, tile. If I can be competent enough to spell properly. Tile tutorial. Okay, so in this tile we can go ahead and select our sprite. You can do it from here as well. Now, in GameMaker Studio, I see that they still have the same. God damn, this fucking camera movement. God damn it. 1 second. Middle mouse button. Jesus Christ, somebody dropping shit upstairs. Oh, okay, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in. Okay, so this tile set, I have to use like shift in order to go horizontally and alt in order to move vertically, and it's just, god damn it. Anyways, so tile width, tile height, obviously I was doing this in Flash, so my objects here are 32 by 32 pixel in size. This as a tile set for RTAG Rise. Let me go ahead and set this to 32 by 32. As you can see right over here, you can see that setting the tile set 32 by 32 aligns it to the grid, or aligns the grid to the tile set. Now, what are these extra features here? Now, these extra features are also present in GameMaker Studio 1. These are essentially values to compensate for what is known as tile tearing. Now, tile tearing is a common issue in GameMaker Studio. Here's a great example of it. Basically, what happens is when you scale the screen up and down, when you use non-uniform resolutions, and when you're zooming in and out, what happens is the tile positions end up getting quantized. They end up getting placed at an even value, and they end up having holes and gaps between them, as you can see. So this is what happens when you have just simple 32 by 32 grid, and your entire tile fills up the 32 by 32 space. So the solution to that is to do what is known as tile buffering. And what happens is you take an edge of the tile and you stretch it out. You basically just duplicate the last row and the last column of sprites, and you kind of stretch it out, and that's basically your buffer. The GameMaker Studio takes this buffer takes this extra space and uses the pixel information from this buffer in order to fill in the gaps between the tiles. So considering that they still have these values in GameMaker Studio 2, it seems like that is the way you deal with the problem. So there is an application that I was using that I got from Yo-Yo Games forum. Somebody made it. It's called Tileset Champion. Here we go. So Tileset Champion, all you have to do is you have to provide your tile object. So, well, we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna go ahead and use the tutorial tile set. So, lessons. I'm gonna go ahead and go to exploring the engine, get our tile set. Okay, so tile width is 32 pixels, tile height is 32 pixels. I actually have a settings file. Yes, discard current settings. I actually have a settings file that I saved just so that I could be consistent throughout all of my things. I think it is gonna be in the same folder where the program is. Yep, Tileset Champion settings. Okay, so the settings, the settings that I use, these are the beginning settings. Obviously, when you create your tile in Photoshop or Flash or whatever it is that you use, unless you manually buffer your tile, so you manually grab the pixels. I can't do that in Flash because it's a vector animation program. Unless you manually add buffers and you keep count of how many pixels you've done it, you won't have any of these other values filled in. So your tile width would be 32 pixels, like it is in my case, as you can see right over here, 32 by 32. And then horizontal offset would be 0, and horizontal separation would be 0. And we select the buffer size. This is up to you. If you're still seeing tearing at 2 pixel buffers, then obviously there's a problem. So you might want to pick something bigger. So in my case, 2 works fine. I'm gonna go ahead and select the sprite again. Oh, god damn it. There we go. And generate tile set, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna overwrite it. I'm just gonna add buffered to the end of it. Okay, so that being said, we now have a buffered version of that sprite. So I'm gonna go ahead and import it. Keep note of it. Tileset Champion. You will need this program. It's extremely useful. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my ass back to the explore the engine. Here's the buffered tile. So here we have temporary tile and temporary tile buffered. I'm gonna close this sucker, go back to the tile sets. I'm kind of warming up to the whole workspace thing, considering that I actually can, or I could, grab some of this stuff out of the workspace and into its own window. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead to this tile set and pick up the buffered tile. As you can see, our tiles are no longer aligned. So this is where you would go into your tile set and it would give you tile width 32, horizontal offset 2, vertical offset 2, horizontal separation 4, vertical separation 4. So 32, 32, 2, 2, 4, 4. You go here. All you have to do is go 32, 32, 2, 2, and 4, 4. And as you can see, our tiles have now been compensated for. So as you can see, there's spaces between the tiles that are filled in with content, and those are buffers. Those are not actual tiles. If I'm gonna zoom in on these suckers, you can see, for example, right here, you see this tiny little bit. It's basically just stretched downwards. This is the buffer for that specific tile. It's not the actual tile. So that being said, you just have to probably have to turn that down to 0, unless it's output. Do I have output border X in the? Nope, just tile width, horizontal offset, and horizontal separation. So that's all that I'm gonna use here. Maybe I'll just leave this at 2. I'm gonna have to look into what the output border X is. Anyways, that being said, we have now buffered tiles, And we can now take a look at the actual tiling feature. So I'm going to close this sucker. I'm going to save. And, excuse me, let's take a look at the, well, I guess we can take a look. Let's take a look at these functions from bottom to the top. So first we have Autotiling. Now, Autotiling is a new feature that's very specific to GameMaker Studio. The Autotiling allows you to automatically tile your level tiles as you're building, as you're drawing these tiles in your game. So to give you a mental example, I'm gonna do Minecraft dirt grass. Let's see if there's an image. Okay, so if you've played Minecraft, you know that you have, oh Jesus, if you've played Minecraft, you know that you have a dirt block and then you have a dirt with a grass block. Now you can't have two like this. You can't have two dirt blocks or two grass blocks on top of each other. You can only have the block with the grass on top, and below that is going to be the regular block without the grass, because logically, you know, there wouldn't be a grass on the bottom below. Actually, here's a good demonstration of that. Here's the top block, here's the bottom block. The bottom block would not have the grass on top. So this is what Autotiling does for you. So when you enable Autotiling, you will have to make sure that your tile set actually provides enough information to fill out the Autotiling function. So when you add the 47 tile set, you click on that. You see all these blocks. These are all the possible ways that your tile can look like. These are all the possible orientations and all the possible variations of a single tile that you can have. So imagine that the white block, if I'm going to zoom in on this sucker, imagine that the white block is grass and the gray block is dirt. This you have to now select on the first block. So obviously this is all gray, so this is all dirt. So I'm gonna pick that block right there. This one here, this is almost all dirt, except there's a little block right there. This would technically be grass. Now I don't have grass here. I just have that one, right? Then I have this one. Then I have let's see, I have this one. Then I don't have this one, so I might even be able to skip it. But this would actually be an interesting reference for you to know what kind of tiles you need to prepare. I do have this one. So I could very well go to this one here. I don't have this one. I do have this one right there. I do, maybe, I don't think I have that one. Maybe I don't have that one. Yeah, I don't think I have that one. I do have this one. I do have this one. I don't have that one. I don't have this, unless I do have this one. No, I don't have this specific one. Okay, I do have that one. You know what it is by now. No, don't have that one. Okay, so I have these ones. Yep, I do have this one. This is an official tile set that I made for Artag Rise. So, you know, good question. Where is? Maybe I don't have this one. Unless I do, but I would normally just rotate this sucker instead of. Yeah, I think that's what I used to do. It's technically this one, but it's upside down. This goddamn asshole is upside down. Anyways, I'm gonna skip that one, and I do have this one though. It's right there. I have this one. I have that one. Good question. Do I have that one? Huh. Technically, I could just print screen this and go back to Flash and just make all these tiles, but, you know, time's money. Time's a wasting. I do have this one. Or at least I hope. Yeah, I do. Right there. Ooh. Do I? Yeah. Okay, I have that one. Do I have this one? Good question. Probably. It's somewhere around here. I have this one, though. And I have this one. I do have that one. In fact, I have several of that one. Nope. No, don't have that one. I have the opposite of that one. Yeah, in GameMaker 1, I would just flip this tile instead of, you know, actually using that tile drawn on there. Anyways, I have that one. I have this one. I have this one. Yep, I have this one for sure. I do have that one for sure. I have this one and this one. I have this and that, and I have this and that. Why are you red? Whoops, sorry, that's not right. What was this one? I think this one was, I think this. I have this, that, and I don't have the complete one, but fuck it, whatever. We'll just, we'll improvise. So, that being said and done, it looks like open or closed edges, open edges. Okay. I don't know what this thing does. Open or closed edges. At some point, I'll have to look it up. Let's see. It'd be interesting to look into that. So, open or closed edge. Room editor, tile set editor. So we've got the answer somewhere around here. Oh, okay, it's here, but it's not here. Brush builder, Autotile. Okay, here we go. Son of a bitch. There's animated GIFs within the tutorial. Oh, this is beautiful. Oh, man. This is just awesome. Why didn't I even spend all this time doing this on my own? Like, why are you people even watching this? Open up the open up the help manual. It is so much better than this. Anyways, let me just finish this up. I'm almost done with this stuff. Anyways, so I have pretty much used up all of these things. So let's go ahead and create a room. Fucking A, yeah. I don't need to make these videos. Their documentation is top-notch as always. Yeah. Fucking A, man. Don't even have to do anything. Okay, so room_test. I'm seriously debating whether I should even continue this. I mean, come on. That high quality tutorial or that high quality manual, or you know what I'm saying, the quality of this manual is better than whatever I could ever explain. Let's pick our tile set. Here's our tile set. So we have our tiles, we have our brushes, and we have our library. So auto tile number 1. If I'm gonna pick the auto tile, and pick my fucking thing, if it ever decides to work properly. Libraries, auto tile. This is what I need. Oh, here we go. There you go. You see? You see how it auto tiles everything? In fact, I can go back to this tile, press edit, and instead of this one, I can pick the white block, and now it will actually make sense. I can erase this stuff. This is really cool. Blah, blah. Really cool stuff. Nice. Nice. Obviously, I have a bit of a misalignment going on over there. I can go ahead and just tone down the... yeah, look at this. This is where providing correct tiles would actually do the trick. But, you know, whatever. I've got this shit. There you go. So this is what autotiling does. It basically fills up your... it creates these edges on its own, because in GameMaker 1 what you have to do, what you had to do in order to achieve this, you had to do this. You would pick your tiles, go to your pick your tile set. You would do this. You would pick the left box, and you'd only have a single block. Pick a left box, then you'd have to pick the right box, then you have to pick the top box, then you'd have to pick the bottom box, and kind of move this sucker out of there, and then I'd have to pick this box. So in terms of level building, this is quite fast. As you can see, my tiles aren't exactly aligned properly, mainly because I drew them like an idiot, but maybe I can even fix that if I go back to the tile editor and actually do this. Set that to 0. Who knows? No. Oh well. Whatever. So that being done, you can see what I mean. The auto tiling will become very, very helpful. In fact, this feature alone kind of does speed up my production time. So I may even be able to port Artec Rise into it. So as you can see, I haven't defined all of the blocks, which is why autotiling is having such a such a rough time trying to understand what the hell I'm trying to do. But as long as you're using stuff that you have defined before, you should have no problems. Now, let's go back to the tile that we were working on. So here's the tile. So autotiling, you got it, all right? You have it figured out. You can add 16 more tile sets, and it just works to, as you can see, this is just a different style of tiles that you can have. This is more for blending tiles together. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and back out of this. Come on, god damn it. This navigation thing is just not working out very well. Anyways, let's go to animation. So what is animation? Animation are animated tiles. What you can do is you can add an animated tile to your level, which is something you could not do in GameMaker. You had to have an actual object with an animated sprite in order to do that. So let's go ahead and add an animation. And you can have obviously multiple animations. So we have one animation here. Let's go ahead and add, let's add 4 frames. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here we go. Play the animation. Good. We can add another animation. This one's gonna be maybe let's do like 8 frames, and we're gonna do this. These are all just different variations of the same tile. So as you can see, they're just doing all kinds of googly stuff over there. So good. These are the 2 animated tiles. We can go back to our room, go to our libraries, which are the autotile libraries, and the animated libraries that we've created. Here are the 2 animations. I can either plaster that thing in there and press play, which will play back our tiles and our sprites. I can decrease my brush size, just do that, and you know, here's our second sprite. Play that back. You can see that it's playing back the sprite quite nicely, or the tile. So this is kind of cool. This does make a great improvement for GameMaker Studio. As I said, you just saw how much better the tutorial or the manual is. I have to say, the fact that it's in the browser and not in its own like, you know, not in a standalone previewer like GameMaker 1 was, you know, it's a pet peeve. It's not a huge deal. I can get used to it. You know, it's a browser. You know, just fucking A, just add more RAM or use Firefox, and you'll have a fast you know, fast manual. But the fact that they've actually animated the stuff, this is quality documentation. Like, I wish Unreal Engine was this well documented, right? Or even App Game Kit. My God, you know, Epic Games and the game creators sure have a thing or two to learn about. Look at this, everything is animated. Oh my God, this is fucking awesome. If you want to make 16 tile Autotile, the procedure is exactly the same as that explained above. So these are just simpler tiling versions. They're not as complex as this one per se, right? Wow, damn, look at this, everything is animated. You know what? Okay, you people have no excuse watching me do this stuff, okay? You people should go and go to Twitter, follow Yo-Yo Games on Twitter, and wait until they post a notification that they have more slots. Get yourself a slot. You know, get yourself GameMaker Studio 2.0, start playing around with it just for the manual, just for the sake of looking at the manual. I mean, come on. That manual explained in literally, I hate to use that word, but in seconds what I've been trying to do here for almost half an hour. Anyways, so there's nothing else to explain in tile sets except for brushes. Yeah, kind of have to segue into that one. So let's go back to the tile sets. Brush Builder. So Brush Builder is sort of what I was doing. It was a little finicky in GameMaker Studio. You would open up you wouldn't be building brushes here, but what you could do is you could multiple select tiles in here, and that would basically become your brush, right? So you could do, like, you know, I would do this. I would select some of these, and this would be my my road, right? I would do this, or I would, in this case, you know, pick this one, and then I would do this, and this would be my, you know, my wall, or whatever. Is my middle mouse button broken? Because middle mouse button was working. I think my middle mouse button was broken. That's why I'm having so much fucking hard time at this. God damn it. Yep. I think it's busted. Oh. Okay, it's like barely working. I need a mouse. You know what I need? I need a trackpad mouse. Sorry, I'm kind of getting off topic here. This is my most favorite mouse ever. Trackpad mouse. And I know, yes, it does require a bit of maintenance. Not this one. That one's a piece of shit. No, not trackpad. Trackball Mouse. Now, this one. I used to have not that one, not this one. Fuck, I kind of want this one. This one. This is the one that I used to have. It's really cool. There's no middle mouse button. The middle mouse button was achieved by clicking both of these together. And the trackball, oh my God, you don't have to move your wrist, right? Which, you know, could be a bad thing or a good thing, whatever. But the fact that you just had a trackball, first of all, I feel like I'm in a Star Trek movie. Just moving the ball around. I find this mouse to be really, really cool. And I used it up until the very point the cable broke, which I was an idiot. I could have easily soldered it and used it for another like 6 years or something until it broke again. And at that point I would just, you know, solder it again. This mouse is absolutely amazing. Anyways, that was just kind of, you know, hopefully that will, you know, get on my Christmas shopping list, because it's only like 20 or 30 bucks. It's not that bad. Anyways, so the tile brushes are pretty much non-existent in Game Maker Studio 1. You know, your tile brushes are basically you multiple selecting all these tiles. While in Game Maker Studio 2, what you can do is, first of all, you can zoom out. All right, you can get some extra tiles. You can fit as many brushes as you want, as far as I can tell. So in order to make a brush, all you have to do is you have to click on the brush, place it, and remember that weird room that I was trying to make? Like this, that, which was achieved in the Autotiler, sure. Yeah, you see, I've kind of pasted these tiles in a very finicky way, so that's why it's not really, whoops, derp. That's why it doesn't seem to be fitting properly. But anyways, this would be your brush, right? And you can, you know, duplicate these brushes. You can select these tiles. Even auto tile this stuff. Like you can just grab this and, you know, or if, you know, if it actually worked properly, that, here we go. Yeah, you can just draw your brush type. Look at that. I just drew the exact same thing I made here using the Autotiler. So that's kind of cool. And that means that if you go back to the room, you can go to the brushes and you can select your brush right here. You can see it selects it right away. So you can now just plug these things in your level as much as you want. Okay, I've covered autotiling, I've covered animations, and I've covered brushes. This pretty much concludes the everything that I wanted to discuss in this particular video. I mean, the rest of the stuff is, I would just have to look into it. You know, the sounds, paths, scripts, most of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. There's nothing, well, you know, I don't want to say there's nothing new because I haven't looked into this. Anyways, I'm at 42 minutes. This has been way too long. So yeah, you fuckers have no excuse in sitting on your asses and watching me. Go to Twitter, follow Yo-Yo Games, and get yourself a slot. You know, while this engine is in development, you have the best opportunity to play around with most, if not all, of its features for free. And once, you know, they go once they actually go commercial, you can pick up if you like it, if you like this engine, you know. So wait for them to open up more slots and you'll be able to play around with this stuff as well. So hope you guys, you fuckers have learned something with this, because if you didn't, I will just be sad. You know, you just kind of wasted 43 minutes of just me rambling about anything. Anyways, keep an eye out for R-Tag Rise. I'm actively working on that project. This is our platformer game, and I'll see you guys in the next video.